The Coin Lady channel is pleased to have you back. ASIC pulls out a $50 million debt box case after community accuses them of wrongdoing. A prominent cryptocurrency attorney and chief technology officer have both spoken out against the SEC's handling of the debt box problem, stating that the agency's overreach is to blame. The case is currently unraveling as false claims are revealed, and it has caused emotional and financial harm to all parties involved. This is due to the fact that the Securities and Exchange Commission recently decided to drop a $50 million fraud action against DebtBox, and the company has admitted to making misleading statements. A group of XRP attorneys headed by John Dassler have spoken out against Gary Gensler's leadership at the SEC. This 1cc alteration of the $50 million is the most in need of real leadership that I've ever seen in any business. The community is abuzz about the Securities and Exchange Commission's move to drop charges against DebtBox. Judge Torres is one of many federal judges who have used ESIC as a resource. The Ripple lawsuit has exposed attorneys as hypocrites, and the legal community is understandably wary of him. This action casts doubt on the validity of the SEC's assertions in other instances. Following an appeal court's ruling that the denial of a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund by the Securities and Exchange Commission was arbitrary, Deaton was left bewildered. At the same time that corrupt attorneys were convicted, he said the SEC was trying to shield them from responsibility by covering up their crimes. The judicial drama in Coinbase versus Securities and Exchange Commission would be intensified if, as Denton advocated, attractive counsel could not attend in cases presided over by the judge. Notable lawyers like Jeremy Hogan and Bill Morgan have voiced their disapproval of the SEC's practices and abrupt strategy shifts. Their argument is that the agency has been stubborn in pursuing a major fraud case, but has now backpedaled when faced with potential negative outcomes. There are accusations circulating that the Securities and Exchange Commission is playing games in court, and the lawyers defending XRP are clearly frustrated. Even Coinbase chief legal officer, Paul Grewal, voiced his displeasure with the SEC for creating trouble and then trying to get out of it. David Schwartz, Ripple's chief technology officer, what effects does this have on the stock price? And has also accused the SEC of being dishonest in the DebtBox case. Market value of the associated coin dropped by 56% notwithstanding the Securities and Exchange Commission's admission that they had erred. The consequences were swift and devastating. The situational details are important, but there is more to the lesson than that. John Deaton emphasized the importance of SEC attorneys keeping in mind that they are dealing with real individuals and their means of subsistence. This isn't just a matter of regulations. On the contrary, it is a reasonable and fair system. This is about more than just the law. More accurately, there is an expectation that the SEC would act properly and fairly in its dealings with Bitcoin businesses. Beyond the scope of legal action, the public is demanding justice and fairness while keeping a close eye on the situation. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and Gary John have been criticized by XRP supporting lawyers, including John Dutton. In response to the show cause order and penalties for lying in federal court that Judge Robert Shelby issued, the Securities and Exchange Commission has decided to dismiss the $50 million fraud action that was filed against DebtBox. This comes after the SEC moved to dismiss the lawsuit, which aimed to avoid sanctions and penalties for misleading the court in order to obtain a restraining order and asset freeze against the cryptocurrency company DebtBox. XRP attorneys, including SEC Chair Gary Gensler, have voiced their opposition. As it pertains to the DebtBox case, admitting to providing false or misleading information, the Securities and Exchange Commission, an attorney named John Dean, who represents 75,000 XRP investors, has challenged Gary Gensler, the current head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, for an incident that happened when Gensler was in charge of the SEC while businesses were being investigated. The SEC's lawyers, he said, have not shown true loyalty to the rule of law. Judge Torres was one of many federal judges who harshly criticized the SEC, calling SEC officials such say Kearney hypocrites in the Ripple effect. In the Grayscale case, an appeal court found that the refusal of a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund ETF by the Securities and Exchange Commission was arbitrary and capricious, notwithstanding those shocking facts, findings that would make any prominent lawyer shudder and feel ashamed. Afterwards, the lawyers who were supposed to defend your organization acted in a way that showed zero concern for the truth or the quest for justice. Now you're attempting to shield your dishonest lawyers from the law they swore to uphold, and you're evading justice at the same time. Other lawyers, such Jeremy Hogan and Bill Morgan, criticized the approach that the SEC's commissionship chef used in the complaint, Deaton. The SEC allegedly accused Americans of committing a multi-million-dollar fraud but ultimately decided to drop the case to avoid embarrassment and penalties over its perceived unwarranted actions against cryptocurrency companies like Ripple, Nance, and Coinbase XRP, Coinbase. A group of lawyers have accused the SEC of trying to disgrace Coinbase and the cryptocurrency business as a whole by claiming authority over the whole sector. In addition, Paul's organization will blast the SEC and its lawyers for letting Schick, who damaged the firms, and their attorneys drop a case and ask to dismiss him without prejudice. In the Debtbox case, Ripple's chief technologist David Schwartz had already pointed out that the SEC had done unlawfully. He had criticized the SEC for dishonestly manipulating facts to get their way before the other side could counter. Some of the most prominent minds in the cryptocurrency industry have seen patterns that lend credence to the idea that XRP might see a price explosion similar to the one that swept markets 5 years ago. After a long period of consolidation characterized by severe underperformance, a symmetrical triangle breakout may emerge shortly, which might signal the beginning of a probable recovery. Historical price patterns and momentum indicators are showing signs of growing bullishness, according to current study. On behalf of the token that is having a rough go of it right now, XRP constructed a multi-year triangle, quite similar to the one it had established after hitting its peak in 2013. Afterwards, a downward spiral began. The structure of XRP allowed it to remain in its range until 2017, when a sudden upward resolution added 4 zeros to its price, according to one market analyst. On Wednesday, XRP will shut for the month. Our current attention is on the max symmetrical triangle. When we were in a symmetric triangle before, the MACD indicator went above zero, which led to a recovery and a parabolic advance. This time, the cause was Ripple XRP, losing ground in the current up market. Now the upside is trapped in a new symmetrical triangle. However, if we anticipate another increase for XRP, one of the most notable variations in this cycle is the duration spent crafting the technically appealing design. A second observer has said that, in order to set the stage for pyrotechnics, the present version requires a final surrender wick. Curiously, the 2017 enthusiasm did presage a big downward wick. At that point, the video cuts out altogether. Show your support by subscribing to my channel and giving it a favor. Goodbye for now.